Just how big a deal is it for Abdul Carter to be available for Penn State as they take on Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl on Thursday, and why I think that him playing is going to matter in ways that you might not think. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, thank you for joining us. Welcome. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you absolutely, positively nothing to subscribe. It's simply you telling YouTube, hey, I'm a fan of this channel. I like it being here. I would like it if more people join the 127,000 people that are among this community. And, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know. Do you think that Abdul Carter being available is a big deal for Penn State? And if you're a returning viewer of this show and you have not subscribed, I'm going to ask you to do that. Just subscribe, ring the bell, so you don't miss any of the segments that we upload here. Like the video and answer the comment question. So, off the rip, Abdul Carter is one of the best defensive players in the entire country. Full stop. He's a guy that I thought could have won the Butkus Award. I think he's that good. He's suffered a couple of injuries that have forced him to miss some time this year, but he's also been dominant and disruptive when he's been on the field. We're talking about a guy who's got 22 tackles for loss and 11 sacks, playing edge and linebacker at the second level, just depending on what Tom Allen is asking him to do. And when you take into account what guys like Kobe King have done, Tony DeLuca, and on it goes, you can see how him being able to occupy 1, 2, and maybe a chip defender 3, 2.5, depending on how you feel about a running back being a chip defender, is freeing up so many other guys to do their jobs and do them well. I think Vanover and Dennis Sutton are great players, but there is nobody like the guy that's wearing Stick City. That's the reason he's wearing Stick City. Going back to LeVar Arrington, Micah Parsons, you wear that number 11, you're a dude at Penn State. You're the dude at Penn State. And on this team, he is the dude at Penn State because the defense runs that football team. We spend a lot of time talking about Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, who are 1,000-yard backs and really are the engine of that offense. And if they are not going, I don't think that Tyler Warren gets to do what he does in the passing game, or Trey Wallace does what he does in the passing game. Certainly, they help Drew Aller. Drew Aller is the guy that I think could elevate with a huge win against Notre Dame to a guy that we're talking about who can win big games. Like, I understand that winning the Fiesta Bowl is a big game. It's also beating Boise State, who we don't think is that good. We think Ashton Jeanty is really that good. We never thought that Boise State was that good. The same thing is true of SMU, who didn't even win their conference championship, but went undefeated through an ACC and then got busted to the white meat by Penn State. The half-empty way of looking at this for me is Penn State beat two teams that played in Group of 5 conferences just last year to reach the 4-team playoff. In many respects, it feels like the only way that a Penn State team was going to reach the 4-team playoff was to go with this 12-team format where a team like them gets in, and then they're able to beat teams that are top 10, top 15 for most, but aren't top 5. And that's where we're really going to be up against it with Penn State, and they got an opportunity against a blue blood in Notre Dame to get this thing done. I think Abdul Carter helps you in a number of ways, not just the ways in which I mentioned, but running down a guy like Riley Leonard. And this is important because Jalen Walker was harassing Riley Leonard and harassing that run game. He's the Butkus Award winner at Georgia. He was nullified in the second half by an offense that couldn't do much. Meanwhile, we are talking about a Penn State team that has 6 interceptions in the last 2 games. So if you could force Riley Leonard to be one-dimensional, you'd feel good about that. But that's something Georgia did. They were limiting that dude to under 100 yards passing, and they were still able to beat them up on the ground with his legs, Jeremiah Love, and Jadarian Price running the football. On 3rd and gotta have it, they would go get it. On 4th and gotta have it, they would make something happen. I think if you are going to win, you're going to have to get off the field. You're going to have to stop on 3rd down. I don't think it's enough to limit that team to being one-dimensional because we just saw a one-dimensional Notre Dame beat Georgia. This also is a wild, wild ride because all 4 of the teams left are teams that we saw lose conference champions or lose the opportunity to play for conference championships or not play for a conference championship, right? Or not win a conference championship in the case of Penn State, right? In the case of Texas. I think when we're looking at this, we're also going to look at the seeding, and I'm going to say something that is going to really knock the socks off of some blue bloods. Traditionalists, not blue bloods. Realize that Penn State has an opportunity to win the Fiesta Bowl and the Orange Bowl in the same season, Realize that Notre Dame has an opportunity to win the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl in the same season. Realize that Texas has an opportunity to win the Peach Bowl and the Cotton Bowl in the same season. Okay? The only team that can't win 2 traditional New Year's 6 bowl games in the same year is Ohio State. Okay? And they won the Rose Bowl, which for many, that's a championship, right? There's nothing bigger than winning the Rose Bowl apart from winning a national championship. And wasn't that long ago that winning the Rose Bowl meant you were crowned a national champion, right? Now that we have the 12-team playoff, we have a schedule that's kind of lopsided and ridiculous in some ways, and this is one more example. Like, we're going to play the Orange Bowl on a Thursday. We're going to play the Cotton Bowl on a Friday, which, again, seems sacrilegious, but this is part and parcel of the 12-team playoff. It's also the reason why ESPN pays $7.8 billion for the rights to the damn thing, the rights to the 12-team playoff. My goodness. We're also going to have to look at reseeding because we're going to have a national champion without a conference championship. I love conference championships. I think we continue to play conference championship games because I like being able to hang a banner that has you as the definitive winner of that conference. However, we're going to have to take a look at how that seeding should not be affected by who wins and loses in a conference championship game because we get lopsided games like the ones that we got, and people want more competitive games. I'm also going to tell you that it's nothing new for people to get blown out in bowl games, certainly nothing new for teams to get blown out in the 14 playoff. I mean, just take a look at Oklahoma. Each of the last couple of times that they got there, it wasn't close, right? It's just the best of the rest. We're also talking about Notre Dame and Penn State being in the best spot that they've ever been in the playoff era to play for and win a national championship. You rewrite the narrative for both of these programs very quickly. We're talking about a Notre Dame team that hasn't won a national championship in 31 years. We're talking about a Penn State team that hasn't won a national championship since, I believe it's 86. We're talking about 2 black coaches, head coaches, who would like nothing more than to be the first ever black man to win a national championship as a head coach. I think Marcus Freeman is already up against it because they're on a short week. You had the game that was delayed by a little less than 24 hours because of a terror attack in New Orleans. You also had a team that was on lockdown for both of those programs and teams that really were kind of playing out of time. And now you've got 2 fewer days to prepare for Penn State. However, it's a lot like looking in a mirror, man. That's the reason why this game is so intriguing. I think it's a low-scoring game, but it's because you got 2 teams with great tailbacks, right? You've got 2 teams with so-so passing quarterbacks, but one in particular that is great on the run and one that is okay on the run. You've got a star player in Tyler Warren at wide receiver, and you could have that with Bo Collins or even Mitchell Evans at Notre Dame, but I think Jordan Faison is going to be a guy you want to throw the ball to. Jaden Greathouse is a guy you want to throw the ball to. And then defensively, Xavier Watts, one of the best safeties in the sport. On the other side, again, we're talking about guys like Tony DeLuca, and we're talking about Tony Rojas, Tony Rojas, who can make plays when the ball's in the air. I think it's going to come down to who can make a play, and James Franklin has yet to have to make a play. We saw Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman make a play against Georgia, outcoached Kirby Smart, particularly on that delectable 4th down where they had the punt team on, they hockey changed onto the offense, the defense for Georgia's running out, they're trying to get lined up, you have the delayed clap, and you get you get the offside penalty. It was gorgeous. You also have a James Franklin Penn State team that knows they haven't beaten Ohio State, and Ohio State knows that they have beaten Penn State. The best possible outcome outside of winning this game for Penn State and Notre Dame is to get Texas in the national championship game because the team that Ohio State is better than the one that beat Penn State. I'm not sure that we could say the same thing about this Penn State team that lost by a score to Oregon in the Big Ten title game, and that same Ohio State team a couple of weeks later beat Oregon like they stole something at the Rose Bowl. It's about getting past Notre Dame or getting past Penn State right now. But after that, man, you are really going to have to wait and see and hope you get Texas because, well, I'm sure that there is a Nittany Lion fan out there that wants another crack at Ohio State, and I applaud you for that. But if you're looking to win the national championship, you don't much care about who the opponent is. You just want the best opportunity to go out there and win. Abdul Carter gives you that with his play on the field. I'm also going to add in here that his shoulder injury came after trying to tackle Ashton Jeanty, which is more tip of the cap to Ashton Jeanty than it is about what Abdul can or can't do. I think he's going to play, or at least he's going to try to play. But how effective he's going to be, that's going to be interesting. Even James Franklin said that. Look, I think he's going to try to play. We're going to see how practice goes for him. But it's about, can you be effective on the field? And if you can be, we want you. We want you all over. But if you can't be, that's got to be what it is too, because you can quickly become a liability, and the reason that you lose a football game is the reason, as opposed to the reason why you win one.